religious leaders wanted to test Jesus one day on the matters of faith and life. And Jesus said we're to love God with our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and our neighbor as ourselves. All the law and the prophets, he said, depend upon these two laws. That teaching is central to Judaism and is found in the book of Deuteronomy. Love God with heart, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. But you might have noticed a small difference between Deuteronomy and the words in the New Testament. That's the addition of loving God with one's mind as well as soul, heart, and strength. And it's believed that adding mind may have become common by the time of Jesus. In Mark, the scribe agrees with the summary that Jesus makes and says, we should love God with our understanding. Now today I'm thinking about the mind and the heart. They have become metaphors and represent two vital aspects of life. They are generally seen as fundamentally different and sometimes in opposition to each other. On one side we have the mind, encompassing logic, education, rationality, information, science, and even justice. The heart embraces emotion, caring, mercy, faith, intuition, and love. But some Christians see the mind as an enemy of faith, certainly not as a help to it. This has given the impression to some people that if they're going to be Christians, they will have to check their brains at the door. And a lot of people in today's world just can't do that. So they find faith to be a stumbling block for them because it seems as if they've been told that the mind is a stumbling block for faith. But if we believe Jesus and his contemporaries, loving God is not just a matter for the heart. It's also a calling for the intellect. In fact, in Paul's letter to the Philippians, he says he hopes their love will overflow and that they will grow in knowledge and understanding. He doesn't set love and the mind as opposing qualities. Should the mind rule the heart? Or should the heart decide even when the head doesn't agree? One folk story tells about a prince who gave out his money without thought or consideration of anything except for being generous and making people happy at the moment. He gave no thought as to whether his gifts made things better for people in the long run. He finally even gave his throne away, and yet no one was actually better off for anything that he had ever done. But the legend has a happy ending, because it says he eventually regained his throne and had gained some wisdom, and from that time on, he continued his desire to be generous, but also tried to think about how and what he gave so that it would also be effective and beneficial in the lives of those around him. Another example I've been thinking about in this whole field. Some of us in current times have been discussing the need for continuing social distancing even after sheltering is over. In fact, until there are vaccines and effective treatments. It doesn't feel loving not to hug or shake hands or get close to each other. And at the same time, our minds and the best scientific understanding in the world says it will help protect each other. And so we'll have to make choices. We can act in ways that feel loving to us and therefore makes us feel good, or we can act in ways that don't actually feel loving but really do more to protect and nurture other people. It's not going to be easy. By the way, you may have noticed that life is providing us with new avenues for philosophical discussion and metaphors and examples for doing it. I have often been leery of basing too much upon what I feel at a particular moment. Our feelings are affected by many things, physical and situational. The way we feel or the situation around us. For example, on some days we may not feel very positive, even towards people we ordinarily like or love very much. Logical observation of the world says if we jump ship with every whim of emotion, we're going to spend more time treading water than anything else. We won't experience the good days because we never raided around or worked for them. That doesn't mean that there's never a time when we leave a situation. Even Jesus advised his disciples that there were times when they should shake the dust off their feet and move on. But feelings may not always be the best basis for making long-term decisions or for shaping our behavior. If Jesus had done what he felt like doing, he wouldn't have been crucified. He'd have run away instead. Was it his heart or his head that was taking care of that decision? Love isn't just what we feel. It's also what we choose, how we act. In other words, we can even act loving if we don't feel loving. Is that the head or is it the heart? Or is it actually the two of them working in partnership?